Hi guys, Daniel here from GamePlug, just to give you my reaction to the PlayStation Experience showcase that they had today. I'll keep it real quick, just the things that interested me. I won't cover the whole experience because that's what really impressed me actually. So many games. And the thing is, when you have so many games, it means, and especially with different variety, there's going to be parts of the experience where you're going to kind of switch off and go, well, that's not for me, that's not for me, and that's not for me. But because there's so many games, you as a whole, you'll be impressing a lot of people, but there will be down spots. But the ones for me, Naughty Dog being my favorite video game developer, or one of top three, to open with the Uncharted gameplay. Looked fantastic. I actually didn't think it was real gameplay for a while, but with interviews coming out and such, sounds like it really was, which is spectacular. I mean, I played Uncharted 4. Uncharted 4 looks awesome, but wow, okay. I love, you get to play as Chloe. I didn't feel like she was missing from Uncharted 4, but I missed her. I don't think the story needed her to be in there. I think the story was great with what they told, but I did miss her because she added something to Uncharted 2 and 3, not as much so, but she's a really great character, and it's cool that we're going to be playing as her. And to bring in Nadine from Uncharted 4 kind of brings them all together, which is really cool. They're talking about it being a standalone part, which makes sense with The Last of Us and Left Behind. That was about an hour and a half experience. I mean, it spoils. I wouldn't play that then The Last of Us because it kind of spoils a big moment from The Last of Us. But yeah, something like that, probably even more disconnected with this one because it's over in India and it seems like Chloe's after her own thing. Seems like this might actually be after Uncharted 4 because Nadine's not looking like she's running her mercenary group or anything like that. So she might be, I don't know, maybe getting Chloe's help or something like that. Well, I'm excited. Absolutely, I'll play that. I'll pay for it if I have to because it's just whatever. The other Naughty Dog thing was The Last of Us Part 2 at the end. Looks great. They have not been working on this game at all for very long. Probably only a pre-production team. I think Naughty Dog and Sony's in particular with the publishing has really found a sweet spot in that April to June area. All their games are sold well in those dates, and I feel like they want to do that again. And considering Uncharted just finished this year and they've still got a small team on Uncharted 4 DLC, I do not see that coming out in 2018. Maybe it feels at the end of 2018, but I don't think they'll even bother with that. I reckon they'll just make it in 2019 and bring it out to everyone. So, that's a good 3 years away, which makes sense. Normally Naughty Dog get it done quicker, but give them the time they need and they'll give us a great game. The one last thing I'll talk about, Marvel vs. Capcom. Infinite, not 4, Infinite. This tells you a lot, this trailer and this title. For one, I'm just going to say I'm not a big fighting game fan. There's always fighting games that interest me, but they never pull me over the line to buy them. Like Mortal Kombat, I love playing Mortal Kombat, but I just can't bring myself to buy it. Street Fighter v Tekken, I mean, I love the Tekken characters, but it's not enough for me to buy it because Capcom's not really my thing. But what I've what I've learned, Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite and not making it a 4 makes me think Capcom are going down the route as they did with Street Fighter 5, where here's the service and we're going to slowly just add to it, like they did with Street Fighter 5, which just won Game of the Year. So I would suggest that's what they're going to do. They're going to have the initial game and they're going to fill it out with more characters as they go along, especially with the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which was one of the rumors coming into this event, that they would be focusing more on MCU characters rather than the normal roster that you get. I'm going to go on a little bit of an info session, if you will. So just bear with me, and I guarantee there's a point at the end of it. So back in the 90s, we all know Marvel were going bankrupt, and they sold their movie right properties for X-Men and Fantastic Four over to Fox, and they sold Spider-Man over to Sony. There's a bunch of other characters, but we'll stick to that for these examples. Now, when they did that, it was only the film rights. So anything that is comic related, video game related, merchandise related, all that stuff still goes to Marvel proper. Okay? Now, this is interesting because over the past couple of years, the comics have started to kind of squeeze out the X-Men or any characters really relating to Fox. So Fantastic Four comic is not a thing anymore, pretty much. There's really nothing to be there. There might be a character that pops up here and there, but they don't have their own line. And the X-Men have been slowly diminishing, while Inhumans have been going up. So, and the reason for this is when X-Men make a movie, they have another 7 years before they need to make another movie. That's why we keep seeing them. And if they don't, all those rights go back to Marvel. So one of the strategies, which I'm assuming they're doing here, is they're squeezing them out of pop culture so no one cares about those characters, and then Marvel get them back and then they can make them great again. That's a weird phrase to say in this day and age. Now you're wondering, well, how's this relate to video games, blah, blah, blah. One, you make more money from movies than you do video games. Video games is a high risk industry, just in its nature. Sure, you'll get your Call of Duties and your Grand Theft Autos and your one-of-a-kind things like Rocket League, but it's generally a very high-risk thing, more so probably than movies. So this is a way to do that for them. Now with Sony, why that's different is because Sony actually owns a part of the Spider-Man character, which is why Marvel will never get them back at all. So with this Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, I can see why they'll have many MCU characters and you won't see Wolverine. Or you might see Wolverine at the very least, because they can still use them. They don't have to ask for Fox's permission or anything like that. They can still use them, but I feel like they're going to choose not to, and they're going to pad it out with their own MCU characters, because there's already tons that everyone knows about. Even when you get down to the bottom and you're thinking of War Machine and Falcon and these types of characters, they're just going to throw them on us. So as a business-wise, in terms of how they're going to release it, the fact that it's not a number anymore, I'm just curious, as business-wise, how that's going to work. That's my reaction to PSX. You'll probably hear from many of the others over the coming weeks and months about how this plays out. I'm Daniel. Stick around, watch some of the other videos on GamePlug, and you'll be seeing from me soon.